everyone, and welcome to another deep dive. I was reading through some talks recently, and one really stuck with me. Dallin jokes' "Where will this lead?" It got me thinking about how we make decisions in life. And what if we just stopped for a second and actually asked ourselves, where will this lead, before jumping into anything?
It's a great question to ask, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Oakes makes a really good point, like when he talks about that squirrel, the Irish setter, and the students who just watch this whole scenario play out.
Yeah. I remember that one. It was so vivid, like that squirrel just running around the tree, totally unaware of this Irish setter, circling closer and closer with each pass. And the student, they're just standing there, watching it all happen.
It's like they were frozen or something, almost like they were just waiting for the inevitable to happen.
Yeah,
It's a powerful image, right?
definitely. It makes you think about all those times when we see something happening, but we hesitate to act. Like maybe we see a friend making a bad choice, or something's just not right at work, or even, like societal trends that give you pause.
And it's so easy to just think, well, it's not my place to say anything. Or maybe I'll just make things worse if I get involved.
Yeah, it's easier to just be a bystander. But Oakes really challenges us to think about the cost of inaction. What if those students had just, like, made a noise or something, distracted the dog? Maybe they could have saved that squirrel's life.
It's a good reminder that even small actions can have big consequences.
Yeah.
And sometimes speaking up is the bravest thing you can do.
Totally. So, first takeaway, don't be a bystander. If you see something that's not right, speak up. But Oakes also talks about how we should think about where will this lead, even for everyday choices, especially when it comes to deciding between good things, right? He calls this opportunity cost.
Exactly. It's like, okay, let's say you're spending hours every night playing video games. It's fun, right? But that's time you're not spending learning a new language or working on a side hustle or just getting a good night's sleep. All good things too.
I see what you mean. It's not about saying one thing's good and one thing's bad. It's realizing that every choice we make means we're missing out on something else. Like, if I stay up late playing games, I might be too tired to work on my personal projects the next day.
Exactly. You snooze, you lose. And your time and energy, they're limited resources. So if we're always saying yes to good things, well, we might not have the space for the best things, the things that really matter to us in the long run. Oakes even has a whole other talk on that good, better, best.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one. Makes you think.
Yeah.
What about you? Any good things you're doing that might be keeping you from something better?
Oh, totally. For me, it's easy to get caught up in the daily grind and lose sight of what really brings me joy. It's a good reminder to be more intentional with my time and energy. How about you?
Let me think about that. So we've talked about the consequences of inaction and opportunity costs. But Oakes doesn't stop there, does he? He also delves into the power of choosing how we label ourselves. What's that all about?
He emphasizes that above all else, we are children of God. That's our primary identity. And compared to that eternal truth, all those other labels, our jobs, ethnicity, hobbies, even our flaws, they just don't matter as much.
It's easy to forget that, isn't it? We get so caught up in those labels the world throws at us. I'm not good at math. I'm too shy. I'm not creative. It can be hard to break free from those labels.
They can really hold us back. I challenge you to think about what labels you use for yourself. Do they empower you or do they hold you back? It's a question worth pondering.
Definitely. And speaking of labels and choices, I keep thinking about that Colombian couple Oakes mentions. The ones who made that incredible sacrifice to get married in the temple.
Ah, yes. Their story is a powerful example of what it means to sacrifice for something you truly value. This couple had saved up for months to travel to the temple in Peru, the closest one to them at the time. They get to the bus station in Bogota, ready to head to Lima, only to discover all the seats are taken.
Oh no, what did they do? Did they find another bus?
They did something even more incredible. They chose to ride on the floor of the bus for the entire 5-day journey to Lima. Imagine that. 5 days crammed on a bus floor just to be sealed in the temple. It shows how committed they were.
Wow, that's dedication right there. Riding on a bus floor for 5 days, that's a level of commitment most of us wouldn't even consider.
It makes you think about what sacrifices we're willing to make for the things that matter most to us.
Right.
Their story is a beautiful example of delayed gratification.
Yeah, delayed gratification. That's something we hear a lot about these days, especially when it comes to finances or like achieving long-term goals.
Right, like saving up for a down payment on a house instead of taking that fancy vacation, or choosing to study for an exam when your friends are all going out. It's about prioritizing the future over the immediate. And you know what? Studies have shown that people who are good at delaying gratification, they tend to be more successful in life. better at setting goals, managing their impulses.
Makes sense. But honestly, delayed gratification. Not always easy. Sometimes that temptation for instant satisfaction is just too strong. Any tips on how to resist that urge?
There's this strategy called temptation bundling. Have you heard of that one?
Temptation bundling. Sounds interesting. Tell me more.
It's actually pretty simple. You combine something you enjoy, like listening to your favorite podcast, with something you need to do but keep putting off. Like, let's say, going for a run. You only allow yourself to listen to that podcast while you're running.
Aha, I get it. It's like tricking your brain into doing something good by associating it with a reward. Like, maybe I only watch my favorite TV show while I'm folding laundry.
Exactly. It's all about making those necessary tasks a bit more enjoyable. And another thing that helps, focus on the positive consequences of delaying gratification. Like, visualize how good you'll feel after a workout.
Instead of dwelling on how much I dread going to the gym, I should picture how energized I'll be afterward. It's about shifting your mindset, right? From I have to I choose to.
You got it. And don't forget to celebrate your successes along the way, no matter how small. Give yourself credit for making those tough choices. It can really boost your motivation.
Those little wins, right? They add up over time, just like that Colombian couple. Their willingness to sacrifice their comfort for 5 days on that bus, it led them to that beautiful moment of being sealed in the temple.
It's a beautiful example of how our choices, even the ones that seem small, can create a ripple effect. Like the butterfly effect, right? One small action can lead to incredible outcomes.
I like that analogy. It reminds us that we have more power to shape our lives than we often think. Each choice, big or small, contributes to the overall direction.
And that brings us back to Oakes's central message. That question, where will this lead? Asking it can truly transform our lives by helping us make choices that align with our values and goals.
It's about being intentional, thinking about the long-term impact of our choices, not just the immediate gratification.
It's about living with purpose. And it's not about being perfect or never making a mistake. We all stumble. The key is to learn from those experiences and keep moving forward.
Yeah, it's about being willing to course correct, adjusting ourselves when we realize we veered off course, and having the grace to extend that compassion to ourselves and to others.
Because in the end, it's about the journey, not just the destination. Embracing the ups and downs, the challenges and triumphs, knowing that even amidst uncertainty, we have the power to choose a path that leads us toward a brighter future.
I love how Oakes's message applies not only to those big life-changing decisions, but also to the everyday choices. It's the little things we do each day that shape our lives in the long run.
Exactly. It's about developing that habit of mindful decision-making. Pausing, reflecting, considering the potential consequences of our actions, both big and small.
And remembering that we're not alone in this. We have resources available to help us, the wisdom of others, the support of loved ones, the guidance of our faith. It's about leaning on those sources of strength when we need them.
Absolutely. It's about having a growth mindset, embracing challenges as opportunities for learning, trusting that even when we don't have all the answers, our intuition and values can guide us in the right direction.
This conversation has been so enriching. Oakes's talk has really given me a lot to think about. It's a reminder that we have the power to create the future we want by making conscious, deliberate choices.
And as we wrap up this deep dive into Oakes's wisdom, let me leave you with a final thought-provoking question. What is one decision you've been putting off, and where might it lead if you took action today?
That's such a good question. It's so easy to get stuck, procrastinating and putting off decisions that could lead to something amazing.
It's like we're almost afraid of the unknown, stepping outside our comfort zone. But sometimes the best things in life are on the other side of our fear.
I agree with that. Oakes reminds us that we have the power to choose something different, to break free from procrastination and create a future we're excited about. It starts with asking, where will this lead?
And like we've been talking about, it's not just the big life-changing decisions. It's those everyday choices. They seem small, but they really add up over time.
Like that saying, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. It's all about the choices we make each day.
And as we're on that journey, we need to remember we don't have to do it alone. We have the wisdom of others, the support of loved ones, and the guidance of our faith.
It's about drawing strength from those resources and remembering that we're all works in progress, constantly learning and growing.
And giving ourselves and others grace along the way. We're all on our own paths, facing different challenges and working towards different goals.
This deep dive into Oakes's talk has been so insightful. It really highlights how much power we have to shape our own lives. We can create the future we want by making conscious choices.
And as we wrap up, I want to encourage you to take some time to think about what really resonated with you today. What are you going to take away from this conversation? What steps are you going to take to create a future filled with purpose and joy?
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you learned something valuable that will help you make choices that lead to a happier life. Until next time.